some popcorn, take your seats, and turn down the lights. It's time once again for the Movie Files with your hosts, Steve Winall, Stephon Walker, and Dave Wright.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Movie Files. My name is Steve Winall, and I am joined by my colleagues Dave Wright and Stephon Walker. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello. I walked into that one completely. The topic of this particular episode of the Movie Files is we are going through the AFI list of what they consider to be, now this is called 100 Years, 100 Movies. And to be fair, this is the list that came out quite some time ago. In fact, I'm looking at what is, I believe, the 10th anniversary of this particular list, and I don't know when that was. But this is their definitive list of what they consider to be the greatest movies of all time. And I thought it'd be interesting for us to go through it and not only find out how many of these movies we personally have actually seen, but whether or not we agree with whether or not these are the greatest movies of all time and their placement on the list. And now the AFI, of course, stands for the American Film Institute, which is headquartered, I believe, right here in Silver Spring, Maryland, where Stephon, you are in walking distance of it, I believe.
That's a good point. I don't know if that is technically the headquarters or not. But yeah, the AFI Theater is in Silver Spring, and I feel like maybe that's not where their offices are, but I'm not sure.
I thought there was a big building there, like across the street from the theater, that was the AFI. Well, anyway.
Yeah, if there is, I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the reason I wanted to go with the AFI list is I've often trusted a lot of their thoughts on movies, more so than the Academy of Motion Pictures, I might add.
Yes.
But that's a topic for another episode, I think, because I'm very critical of the Academy.
We keep kicking that can down the road. I feel like every time we have a podcast, you mentioned.
I'm gonna drill that in every single time. But they've got a pretty good eye for movies, those Film Institute people, and this was their definitive list of the greatest of all time. So what I'm going to do is I'm staring at this list right now, but you two can't see what I see here. I'm not screen sharing this with you, so you don't know what is on this list necessarily. You didn't take a look at it ahead of time. So I'm going to just go in a chunk here, and I'm going to see if you can figure out what these movies are.
Before you start, let me ask, what you said it was not a current list. Are you able to tell what year it goes up to? Curious how, what the most recent movie on there might be, or what the most recent year is.
I can tell you just by glancing over it right now that it goes into the 21st century. Okay. that might help you somewhat.
I think you said it was the 10th anniversary of it, so we could definitely eliminate any movies that have come out in the last 10 years,
I would assume.
Right. But anyway, I think we're going to dive right in and go right to the top 10. Okay. And well, first, do you have any predictions of movies that you think will be in there? Okay, full disclosure, I did reveal one of them ahead of time to you guys. Number 10, and we'll go ahead and tell you now, it was The Wizard of Oz, which came out in 1939. That is their number 10 movie on this list.
So here's a question. So they're saying these are what they consider to be the 100 best movies of that past 100 or of that 100-year span.
Yes.
To me, there's a difference between the best movie and the most influential or the most what am I trying to say? Like, there's movies that are like have cultural importance or like Wizard of Oz, I would never think to put in my top 10, but I can see how like it made a top 10. Like it's, sure. I mean, it's a classic. So
yeah, and I think any list at this point is going to be of this kind is going to be completely subjective.
Do they give any criteria for how they made their decisions?
Not on the list that I am looking at. I know they have them.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the criteria are. I know it's not by box office. It's not by something like Academy recognition. I think those do factor into it at some point, but I think there's some higher criteria than that for sure. It's going to be like critical review, probably societal impact, probably impact on the industry itself. Those are all factors I imagine would play into this.
Gotcha. All right. So here's what I think. I think we go back. We just kind of ping back and forth until we get to one, and you just tell us.
So somebody nails one?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
And we're doing top 10?
We're doing top 10. We're doing
anything in the top 10. Oh, perfect.
Anything in the top 10, yes.
Okay. I like it.
Name a movie, I will tell you if it's in the top 10 or not.
Well, I am thinking that not only is this in the top 10, but I'm going to say Jaws is in the top 3.
Jaws is not in the top 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
bye, everybody.
I know. I'm with you.
Jaws is not in the top 10.
What's funny is It's in my top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. Yeah.
But I knew it wasn't going to be. I just knew it. All right. My first guess, top 10, Godfather.
The Godfather is in the top 10.
Okay.
Would you like to know where in the top
On the
10?
board.
Did
I'm going to
you-
say it's top 3.
The Godfather is in the top 3.
I'm going to say it's number 2.
The Godfather is number 2. Good guess.
Oh!
You got
Okay.
it.
Would just
Good
like
job.
to say I hadn't seen that, and I totally got it.
You did.
Godfather 1972 is their number 2 movie of all time.
I can't even. I mean, at this point, I am adrift at sea.
He's
No
so
pun
upset
intended with
about
your jaws.
Yeah. So it's a movie that's at least 10 years old.
Well, I mean, you got
This
8 other choices now. We know Wizard of Oz and we
No,
know
that's
The
true.
Godfather.
It's like playing a game show where you have to, or playing a game where you have to decide what other people will say, not what you think. So I'm like, all right, what would AFI put in the? I'm going to say Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind is in the top 10.
Of course it is. Can't
Yeah.
stand that movie. It's
Yeah,
not even
I-
in my top 50. So
That is in my list of that is my number 1 most overrated movie of all time.
I agree.
But
I agree.
that is another conversation for another episode. I
So
think.
it's in the top 10.
It's in the top 10.
I'm gonna guess it is. Is it in the top 5? It's definitely not. I don't think it's in the top 3. Take a stab and say it's number 4.
Gone with the Wind is not number 4.
Okay,
Do you want to know if it's in the top 5 or not?
sure.
It is not in the top 5.
Then it's number 7.
It is not number 7.
Okay. I'm gonna
7,
say
not 10.
Dodgeball is number 1.
I'm okay with that.
No, I actually there was a thing going around on Facebook about name a perfect movie, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, Dodgeball might actually be close to the top in there. I mean,
in terms of comedy, you could do a lot worse than Dodgeball.
yeah, I mean, it may not be the
true underdog
world's
story.
best movie, but in terms of the construction of a movie, it's pretty damn near perfect.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
The movie.
Dodgeball is not in the top 10.
I'm sure it's not.
Do
Okay,
you want to know where Gone with the Wind lands, or do you want to get
sure,
take
unless
another
Dave
stab
wants
at
to
it?
take a guess at it.
I'll take a 9.
Gone with the Wind was number 6,
Okay,
so
okay.
just barely outside the top 5.
All right. Okay.
So we know 3 of them now. So we got
All right.
Wizard of Oz was 10, Gone with the Wind is 6, Godfather is 2. Back to you, Dave. What do you think?
All right. Going again with the theme of ones that I wouldn't necessarily put up there, but Citizen Kane.
Kane, yeah.
Citizen Kane is in the top 10.
That also would have been my next guess.
I'm actually going to say it's number 1.
Citizen Kane is number 1.
No.
You
Can we
are 2
find
for
another
2.
list, please?
Well, Dave's nailing this so
No,
far.
Dave's got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, according to the AFI, number 1 movie of all time is Citizen Kane.
I really need to know their criteria. I could put together an argument for why Citizen Kane is the number 1 movie of the past 100 years, but it would be based purely on the innovation and the technical achievements. Those are inarguable in my opinion, but I don't think that I mean, by those criteria, Avatar should be the number 1 movie. Certainly, Citizen Kane certainly changed the landscape of movie making. Full credit for that, but I would never put it as the number 1 movie of the last 100 years over something like, I put The General way above Citizen Kane for many of the same reasons that Citizen Kane is theirs.
Yeah, Citizen Kane is something that definitely affected generations before us, I think, in a profound way. Now, I watched this movie when I was, I want to say when I was in my late 20s, and it did not have the impact on me that I think it had. Like, my father showed it to me because my father was a huge movie aficionado, and it was very important to him that I watched this movie, and I immediately recognized the technical innovation of it. Like the opening shot in particular is what, a 70-year-old movie at this point, and I'm looking at it going, I don't know how they did that shot.
What year was your father born?
This would have been. So he was born shortly after that.
Okay.
So it did predate him.
Okay. But still a lot of movies he would have seen would have been made before Citizen Kane. So, I mean, I can certainly understand how that would be. I mean, it was like when we saw Matrix and they did things that nobody had ever seen before. And generation, more current generations would look at that and go, yeah, every movie does bullet time now, and it's
Right.
not a big deal. So I mean, I like I said, I can completely understand the impact that Citizen Kane made and the contributions that it made. If this was a list of the 100 most significant films, I would absolutely agree that Citizen Kane should be number one. But best, I can't.
I've never seen it.
That's the other thing I wanted to find out too, is like how many of these have we actually seen?
Well, I saw it in college in a film studies class, and again, I appreciated the fact that they did things that had never been done before, and that you saw angles and shots and depth of field and all the things that it's known for. But oh my God, was I bored.
Yeah, Citizen Kane did not impact me the way my father had hoped it would, I think, because I was kind of bored with the pacing of it, and he's not a sympathetic character.
No.
Which is hard to latch onto,
I'm definitely somebody who has a problem with that. I can't stick with things where there's nobody to sympathize with.
Yeah.
There's enough people in real life that I don't want to spend time with, that I have to. Why would I voluntarily spend time with somebody I can't stand? So yeah, that's interesting. So Dave, you've never seen it. Okay. It's, I think it's,
and you're not convincing me that I should.
I actually, that said though, I mean, I also don't know how familiar you are with the specific innovations of it, but it would be worth looking up what made it a game changer, and then watching it with that in mind, just to have seen it. Okay. Because I mean, there are things to appreciate. Like the two big things that people generally talk about is that because of the way things were shot, you would never see like the ceiling of a room, because there was no ceiling, it was just the walls, and that's how it was shot. It's floor level or above. And what he did was they actually had sets built where the camera was below the floor and shooting up. Like it really was kind of like The Matrix, in that you saw things that had never been seen before, and that no one who watched movies had really conceived of. You might enjoy it watching it from a filmmaking perspective rather than an entertainment perspective, because it's not entertaining in my opinion at all, but it is very educational.
And that opening shot that I was talking about is it's like an over the rooftops, under a billboard type of grand sweeping establishing shot.
Yeah. Got it.
Which is, very difficult to pull off. And it left people marveling right from the start of the film.
And I think a big reason that we don't appreciate it today is because everything that has come after has been built on that. So they do something like that shot that at the time was incredible and unseen. And we're like, So they had a crane or a drone or a helicopter or whatever. And of course they didn't have any of those things, so they had to create it. So that's why it's very kind of dull now in terms of the filmmaking. It's, in my opinion, the storytelling is timelessly dull, but the filmmaking to us is dull because everything since then has built on it.
It was the first for a lot of different innovations.
Yeah. All right, so I think it's your turn now, Stephon.
Is The General in the top 10?
The General by Buster Keaton is not in the top 10.
Wow. So let me think. So so far it's all been older movies. I don't know.
As memory serves, Jaws and The General are both on different AFI lists. We mentioned before that they have a lot of lists. So one of them is like Thrills and Chills, I think, the best horror and suspense films. And I think Jaws was like way up high on that. Might have even been the top movie on that list.
You're making me feel very disappointed in AFI, because to give Jaws number one just because of Thrills and Chills, I mean, it's
so much more than that.
Such an incredibly well-made movie.
Let me just stop real quick and just say, so my wife is not a huge movie buff, and I have been wanting her to watch Jaws we've been together now 14 years. I've been trying to get her to watch Jaws almost this entire time, and she just wouldn't do it because she's like, I know what it did to you. You'll never go in deep water. And I don't want that to happen to me. So she finally relented, and for Father's Day, she said, all right, I'll watch it. And she loved it. She was jumping it all. I was a little nervous because I felt like I maybe had oversold it.
Right.
And, I mean, it was made 40 plus years ago. So you worry, is it something that's going to, hold up to someone who's used to modern advances, kind of like what you were saying, Stephon, about, Matrix and all that. But she jumped at all the right moments. She was engaged. She loved it. And I'm just sitting here watching it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. I'm sure we've all seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 times easy, if not more. Mm-hmm. And every time I marvel at how amazingly perfect the movie is. The cinematography, the story, the character development. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
And it's not just that.
What a great Father's Day gift.
Was
That was actually that was very
It
sweet of her
was.
to do that. That was
It really
very nice.
was.
But no, I mean, there's lots of movies from the 70s that I really enjoyed, and I watch them now, and I'm like, oh my god, the pacing, because movie pacing is so completely different now.
Mhm.
Watching it, and the pacing is just deadly. Even though I enjoyed it at the time, Jaws, not at all. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's anything, there's any fat to be trimmed from that movie.
No,
Everything,
there's no filler.
yeah,
No.
everything is even if it isn't 100% necessary to move the story forward, there's nothing in it that doesn't expand the world and inform you on it
yeah.
and keep it interesting. It's
A great example of that is when he's trying to make signs that say the beach is closed, and he has to do it himself. So he's going into like an art supply store and just picking up paintbrushes and stuff. And there's a moment where he just knocks over a jar full of brushes. And that doesn't need to be in the film, but it informs his character.
exactly.
It informs the fact that like this is the chief of police and he's got to do everything himself. I love how we're spending how much all this time talking about a movie that is not even in the top 10.
Well, because it should be. It
So
absolutely
let's
should be.
so
Yeah, where is just out of
okay,
curiosity,
where is it?
Jaws on the list?
It's top 20, right?
Do you really want to know where it is?
Yeah, I actually really do.
They've got it at number 56.
Oh my
Okay, yeah,
gosh.
that's way too low.
Yeah.
That's way too low.
That's terrible.
Okay.
Oh my god.
You could argue there's an awful lot of movies out there, but I think it. Yeah. Okay. So by movie file standards, it should be higher on the list.
A whole lot, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So where are we? Who's guessing next year?
Was the general your official guess?
Yeah,
or-
it was.
Yeah, that was not in the top 10.
All right, so back to me. I feel like this is a cheat, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it anyway. Godfather 2.
The Godfather 2 is not in the top 10.
Wow.
I thought maybe because they were like, it's quite frequently called like the best sequel of all time, and it won Best Picture.
It won Best
so-
Picture, even after the first one won Best Picture.
All right, so we need 6 more, right, Steve?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got 4. Yeah.
All right.
So we have Godfather, Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, Citizen Kane. So they're older movies that I don't know. I'm pulling stuff out of my butt here just to say something. Go ahead, Dave. Why don't you just do it and I'll comment because I've got nothing to offer.
I'm pretty confident you guys are
yeah.
not going to get all these.
It should be because it's my favorite movie, but I have this weird feeling it's going to fall in the Jaws category and not be there. But I'm going to say Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is not in the top 10.
Okay. I got. How about Platoon?
Platoon is not in the top 10.
Not. Wow.
All right, I'll stick with the same theme. I'll say Schindler's List.
That's got to be on there.
Schindler's List is in the top 10. Where do you think it is in the top 10 there?
I'm going to say it's bottom 5. It's not 10 and it's not 6.
We've got 6 and we've got 10.
So 7, 8, or 9.
I'm going to say it's 7.
It is not number 7.
Number 8.
8.
It is number 8. Yes.
Okay.
Schindler's List.
Woo-hoo.
So
I guessed my way into a right answer.
So this is 1993. So they're not all from the golden age of movies.
Okay. It's interesting. I'm so drawing a blank on what the big movies were of the 2000s or before.
I will give you the hint that some of the movies you have mentioned so far are on this list. They are just not in.
Just not in the
top 10.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm gonna fill so you can think a little longer.
Please do.
I will back to Schindler's List. Unbelievable film. I've only seen it once. Some movies, like you just want to, like Jaws, you see it over and over again, right? But Schindler's List is one of those that I just like. That's one that Angie really wants to see, right? And I'm like, I don't. Why won't you watch? Like, it's so hard to watch. I mean,
That was an amazing movie that I never want to have to sit through again.
Yeah.
Evidence of how incredible it was is that I don't want to have to go through that again. But thank you for patting, because I'm going to say Saving Private Ryan.
It should be. If it's not, that's messed up.
Are you going to walk away like he was after Jaws?
Well, I'm going to guess it's not in the top 10.
It is not in the top 10.
Oh, come on.
That's why I didn't say it, because I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
There's something wrong with this list, man.
There is.
There's something wrong with this list.
Okay, I was so confident. I'm like, that's got to be in the top 10. It was a big movie. It was emotional.
And that's
it was
one
well
of the reasons I had
made.
a problem with the Academy, actually, because it did not even win Best Picture the year that.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Now I will piggyback off that. That Shakespeare in Love bullshit. Come on.
Look, I really enjoyed Shakespeare in Love.
I did
love
too.
that movie, but no, it is not. It
Yeah.
did not deserve to win over
Shakespeare in
Platoon.
Love was a really fun movie. Saving Private Ryan was a gigantic leap forward in filmmaking.
I mean, without question. So
Yeah.
Okay, so it's back to
So
me then.
we have 5 of them now.
Wait. It is back to you, but what is? Because I just thought of the other one here. This is not cheating, so I'm not going to look at the list. I just can't remember the name of the movie that I'm thinking of, so I'm going to look that up while you're going, Dave.
Okay.
All right. So another one that I would say should be on the list. So I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at it, but it might not. Shawshank Redemption.
The Shawshank Redemption is not in the top 10.
Come on.
Yeah, that one really bugged me too, actually, because if they've got Citizen Kane out there as the greatest of all time, and I'm sitting here thinking, for me that might be Shawshank. Actually,
it is.
Might be
It
in that
is.
spot.
Okay, then I'm going to say Platoon.
You said Platoon already?
Did I? No, I thought I said Saving Private Ryan.
You said that.
Did I say both? Is Platoon not on there? I did say
Platoon is
Platoon.
not
It's
in the
not
top
a-
10. No.
Both
Okay.
times that you asked.
Yeah,
it's
both.
not
It
on
still
there.
isn't there.
I thought I'd give it a second try.
Oh my
still
gosh,
not there.
that was great. You just literally pulled an old man. Because
No,
you said,
this has been happening to me
you
a
said
lot.
Platoon, and then I went, and then I said I'm going to stay with that and say Schindler's List.
Oh, that's
remember?
right. Okay, that's
And then
right.
I was in there, and then you went, okay, Saving Private Ryan. You go, I got another one, Platoon.
Is it time for me to start giving hints?
No, I want to try a couple more guesses.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going. Dave, if you've got guesses, Dave, go ahead, because I obviously am contributing nothing to this. How about Leaving Las Vegas?
Leaving Las Vegas, not in the top 10.
I would have to leave if a Nicolas Cage movie was in the top 10.
Yeah.
To go off on a slight tangent, there is a show on, I think they're showing it on Hulu. It was produced by GQ called, is it Iconic Characters?
I saw your post about this.
Yeah, they've got 2 seasons of it, and they talk to different actors who talk about their iconic characters. And some of them were really interesting, like Simon Pegg. They have people like Al Pacino, who is not really one of my favorite actors anymore, but I am curious to see what his thought process was for certain characters he created. Nicolas Cage was one of them, and it was just the most Nicolas Cage 15 minutes that I've ever spent. It reconfirmed everything I've always thought about Nicolas Cage's acting process, which is, oh, here's something weird that I think might be entertaining to me, so I'm going to do it. It doesn't have anything to do with the character or the movie or the story, but I like it, so I'm going to do it. And it's exactly what it was.
That's very eye-opening.
I would definitely recommend watching, if nothing else, watching that one episode to anybody, because it's just really interesting to see, if you want to call it a thought process, to see what his thought process was on stuff. Because you watch him and you're like, did you do that just because you thought, hey, this will be cool? And then you listen to him talk about it, you're like, oh my God, that is exactly why he did that. Quick example in Moonstruck, where he reveals that he's got this prosthetic hand, and he does this big over-the-top, over-dramatic thing that doesn't really make sense. He did that because he'd seen Metropolis, and there's a moment in that where this character reveals that he's got this mechanical hand. So Nicolas Cage thought Moonstruck is the perfect place to put a piece of German expressionism. That was literally it. He was like, yeah, so I thought this would be the right place to explore inject a bit of my German expressionism. And he does this big thing with his hand. So that, oh my God, you are
Romantic comedy, dude.
Yeah, really. Anyway, yeah, watch that. It's really kind of fascinating.
All right. So where are
We've got 5. We got 5 of the 10.
I think it's back to you, Stephon. I think.
I was not kidding. I'm not sure I have anything to contribute there.
All right. So maybe it is hint time. So we
Okay.
got 5 with 4 because you already gave us one.
Right.
All right. So let me ask you this: are any of the top 5 within the last 40 years?
Yes.
So that's 1980 to now.
French Connection.
Not in the top 10.
I'm not surprised.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction is not in the top 10.
No, that doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say there is not one Quentin Tarantino movie in the top.
Top 10. Yeah. I mean, if Pulp Fiction is not in the top 10, can't imagine another film.
Are there any Tarantino movies in the top 10?
There are no Quentin Tarantino movies in the top 10. Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to get these. There's at least one I think you probably should get. You'll kick yourself when you hear it, I think. But
do you want more hints, Dave? Or
I could use another hint. Yeah.
All right. There are still 2 movies on here that are in black and white.
What's the Charlie Chaplin one that's like?
Oh, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if Chaplin was in there. Well, there's The Kid. And then, I mean, the two ones that I think people remember most are The Kid and Modern Times. I wouldn't be surprised if Modern Times was.
I was going to say Modern Times. I think it's you want to go with that one?
Yeah, sure.
Modern Times.
Modern Times is not in the top 10.
Oh my God.
I am going to spoil it and say it is on this list.
So black and white. Let me ask this: are they talkies?
Yes.
Okay, it's got to be Psycho. Psycho's got to be on there.
Ooh, good guess. It is not in the top 10.
Oh my God.
Is there a Hitchcock film in the top 10?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, there is a Hitchcock film in the top 10. This is actually a really contentious point for me, so I want to see if you guys can narrow this down.
So it's a Hitchcock movie. All right, let me. I realize we're asking for lots of hints now. Is it a black and white Hitchcock film?
Oh gosh, I don't recall now. That's terrible. I don't believe that it is. It's been a while since I've watched it. It's been about 25 years since I last saw it.
I'm trying to think of which ones, the ones that they would probably include.
I'll look that up real quick because I need to know.
Would be
Vertigo.
Rear Window, Vertigo, North by Northwest. I don't think they'd put The Birds in there. Maybe.
No, I don't think so.
I'm going to say North by Northwest.
Okay, no, it's a color film.
Go ahead, Dave. No, it's your turn.
I'm going to say of those, I'm actually going to stick with Vertigo.
It is Vertigo.
It is Vertigo.
It is
Okay.
Vertigo.
Good job, Dave.
After 14 hints, I finally got
Do
it.
you want to know where it is in the list?
Yes.
It is number
9.
It is number 9. Yes.
How'd I guess? Oh,
Now this is where it's contentious. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you where Psycho is on this list.
Okay.
Psycho comes in at number 14.
okay.
It's just outside the top 10. They put Vertigo ahead of it. For my money, Vertigo is not by a long shot Hitchcock's best film.
No.
It's a
I would agree with
weird
that.
movie.
And is
It's
that
a
their
very
that's their
weird-
top Hitchcock movie?
That is their top Hitchcock movie.
Wow.
And Psycho is their second rated Hitchcock movie on this list.
I am with you. I think Psycho is a much better movie.
Yeah.
Just in general.
And even more so than that, I think like North by Northwest is better, honestly.
Speaking of movies we've never seen,
And Rear Window. Oh my gosh, Rear Window.
I've never seen North by Northwest. I need to watch that.
Yeah.
There's been, I don't know what channel it is, but one of the channels has been doing kind of a Hitchcock marathon. So I watched probably about the last 15 minutes of Rear Window a couple nights ago, and then watched 10 or 15 minutes of Vertigo a few nights before that. It's been a long time since I saw Vertigo. It's a much stranger story than I remember.
It's there's a couple of different stories going on there at the same time. They focused on the fear of heights aspect of it, but there's also this weird reincarnation sub theme.
Exactly. That's the thing I had forgotten. That's where I came in, is when they're in the woods, I guess it is, and they're talking. He's like, "You've been here before," and I'm
They're looking at the rings of the tree, and
yes. She's like, "This is where I died," and I'm like, I don't remember this being part of the movie at all. And Vertigo is really not a part of the story at all. He's got a fear of heights, but he doesn't really have vertigo.
Very bizarre movie.
I may have to watch it again just because it's been so long. But now that we're talking about it, I think I'm gonna have to watch. Okay, I have to watch North by Northwest within the next week or so because I've never seen it.
All right, so we're narrowing it down. We got 4 left? You're missing 3, 4, 5, and 7. Citizen Kane was number 1. Number 2 was The Godfather. Number 6 is Gone with the Wind. 8 was Schindler's List. 9 is Vertigo, and 10 is The Wizard of Oz.
And we know there's one more black and white movie in there.
And there's also at least one more that's more recent.
Oh, nope, that's Hitchcock, isn't it?
I'm an idiot.
What is it?
Casablanca.
Oh, of course.
Casablanca is in the top 10. There you go.
Is it number 3?
It is number 3, yes. Good job. There you go. An interesting note about Casablanca, too. This was like during a time, Casablanca came out in 1943. It was a movie about World War II that was filmed and released during World War II. And there was no television. Everything, like the film industry, was just, they were just movie factories. They were just churning them out. They did a movie a week. A studio would put out 52 films in a year. Everybody associated said this was just one of them. And most of the people at the time had no idea why out of the 52 films that studio made that year, that was the one that everybody latched onto. But I think that really speaks to the criteria of this list that we were trying to figure out before, because this was something that took place in North Africa during a time when America was fighting in North Africa.
Let me ask are any of the remaining ones a musical?
Yes, there is a musical on
Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain is in the top 10. There you go.
Finally. Jeez. Okay. I'm gonna. So we have. It's not number. I'm gonna say
we need 4. We need 3. We have. That was
number 3.
So
we need 4, 5, and 7.
4, 5, and
I'm
7.
gonna say 7.
It is not number 7.
4.
It is not number 4.
3,
it's
2,
5.
5.
Number
9.
5.
Platoon.
Singing in the Rain is number 5.
Number 5. Okay. All right.
We have 2 left, huh? I'll go with Lawrence of Arabia.
Lawrence of
of
Arabia
course.
is in the top 10. Yes.
Okay,
Good
that makes
job.
sense. Of course, that should be in there.
That's number 4.
Nope, 7.
7. So we're missing number
just
4.
number 4.
All right. And that's the remaining black and white, isn't it?
I believe this movie is in black and white. Here is something very interesting to point out, however. You also have not nailed the movie that has come out within the past 40 years.
Black and white, and it's come out in the last 40 years?
A black and white movie that came out. Oh, Dave's got it.
it.
Or he's really got to go to the bathroom.
Go ahead, Stephon.
No, I got nothing.
What is Raging Bull, Alex?
It is Raging Bull. Good job.
Excellent. Really good job, Dave.
Raging Bull
Wow.
came out in 1980.
You won all of the movie money bucks in this game.
So there's your top 10 according to the AFI.
So go run down it from 10 to 1.
Yeah, please.
Number 10 was The Wizard of Oz. 9 was Vertigo. 8, Schindler's List. 7 was Lawrence of Arabia. 6 was Gone with the Wind. 5, Singing in the Rain. 4, Raging Bull. 3, Casablanca. 2, The Godfather. And 1, Citizen Kane.
Well, for all my complaining, I do think that most of those deserve to be in the top 10. I don't know that I would necessarily, maybe Jaws, but I'm not sure about, any of the other ones that I was getting mad about necessarily deserved a place over some of those. I disagree with some of the order, and obviously I disagree with Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind. But still, the others definitely deserve to be in the top 10 in my
still
opinion.
take exception to Vertigo.
That's a good point. Yes. All right. I'll go with you on that. I don't know that it deserves to be in the top 10. Certainly not over Psycho. If we're going to stay with the kind of pattern they set up for the things they chose, I don't see where Vertigo did things that Psycho didn't that make it more deserving of being there. As I recall, there wasn't anything that was particularly groundbreaking in the filmmaking of it or the storytelling that wasn't there in Psycho.
So I kind of want to run down to the next the next 10, the 20. I don't know if you want to guess. You might be out of guesses at this point,
Sure.
but
no, we could try. Maybe you need to give like some hints. But so 14 you already gave us.
That was Psycho.
That was
number 14 was Psycho. That's the only one we know of.
Now, so great way to maybe start us off going for the 11 to 20 is as any of those were ones that we were guesses for the top 10?
One of them.
Only one of them
is in the top 20. Joking aside,
Platoon.
It is not Platoon. It is not. And what do we say about Saving Private Ryan? Where did we?
I don't think we did. I'd say Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan is not in the top 20.
Okay, this is what I'm giving this list right now.
Jaws. That's another one of those movies where I'm like, that was an amazing movie that I cannot sit through again. It was relentless.
The scene with Adam Goldberg or the guys.
God, he is so good.
He's so good, and he just kind of disappeared. He never really broke out. Like you thought that from that, and he was at a small arc on Friends, and I thought he'd maybe take off.
Just the way he's like, it gets real for him, and he's like, let's stop now.
Right.
It was so, it's like, oh my God, that's 100% real and was really powerful.
All right. I think it's your guess.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Are there any Spielberg movies in the top 20 other than, we already said Schindler's List.
Well, right. Excluding the top 10, there are no Spielberg movies from 11 to 20.
I don't think this is going to make it, but I'll say Alien.
Alien is not.
Or Aliens, actually. Aliens is a better movie than Alien.
Neither one of them in the top 20.
Neither one of them. Interesting. Okay. All right.
I'm going to go back to Shawshank
Redemption, not in 11 to 20. I'm just as upset about that. I know.
Angry.
It seems like a tremendous oversight.
Because you said no Spielberg, which means no Raiders. So I'm like, okay, they just don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I'm actually looking ahead in the list here to see where.
These lists obviously were made with a certain bias, right? Because, these are people that are like, it's sort of like when people are talking about older things, they have such reverence for it. And it's like, like Lawrence of Arabia. I've seen Lawrence of Arabia. It's a boring movie.
It's long.
It's very
long. It is very long.
It's good. And I understand why it's on the list. But again, if you were to really say, all right, so which movies would you want to sit and watch again and again and again? And that to me is telling you that it's a great movie. It's not Lawrence of Arabia. It's not Citizen Kane.
Lawrence of Arabia is another one that's, for me, it was the cinematography. I never saw it, and I saw it for the very first time last year. We saw it over at AFI, so I got to see it on a big screen.
Okay. I saw it at the Uptown.
Yeah, and it's okay. That's a great screen to see it on too. So for the cinematography, it's pretty incredible. But I agree with you. It's not a movie. I don't need to see it again. It wasn't in and of itself a super compelling story until I think about the fact that it was a real person and that at least as far as I am aware, by and large, the story they told in the movie was fairly accurate. I think if somebody was sitting down and telling me in 20 minutes the story of Lawrence of Arabia's life, I'd be like, oh my God, that's incredible. But sitting down and watching it over 2 hours was not.
2 hours before the first intermission.
Yeah,
What are you
two,
talking about?
2 hours.
I don't even remember how
It's
long
like,
it
it's
was.
like a
It's a
4-hour
long
movie.
movie.
Was it that? Yeah.
It's in, yeah.
The
it's
overture
crazy.
alone is like 10 minutes long.
That killed me. I'm like, that was like, even as an old person, I'm like, this is so before my time that I don't need.
It's the processional. It's the music they play when people are coming into the theater, you know?
Yeah. It's just, I just don't need to, even with a movie like Hateful Eight. It's like, I like this movie. I like the fact that he's, doing an old style movie. I still don't need to sit through an overture. I want to see the movie.
Okay.
There's still a movie that you have guessed.
Yes, I think I know which one it is. I'm gonna go back to Godfather 2.
It is not The Godfather 2, not in the top 20.
What?
Yeah.
Not
And
the top
something that we
20.
already mentioned. No, I should have kept a list of what we mentioned. Oh, is it Modern Times?
It is not Modern Times.
And is there any Keaton or Chaplin in the top 20?
Yes.
Oh, there is. Okay. So it's not the general either.
It is The General.
It is the general.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the one.
And is that in the top 15?
It is not in the top 15.
Oh, just take your list and die.
So far,
Is this the same general on those commercials?
Yes. Yeah.
It sure is.
with Shaquille O'Neal in that now. Now, so far, this is the earliest movie on the list too. It came out in
Is it really?
1927. One of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah. You know what we should do? We should challenge ourselves to do an episode later where we set the criteria. So we all are working from the same criteria and come up with our top, I wouldn't say 100 because it's way too much for each of us to go through, but maybe our top 10 or 15 movies, and then discuss why.
I have this list already.
Well, I know you do. You could probably do it right now. I do not. And
It's laminated on this plaque right here.
Well, I have it broken down by genre, but
I don't catalog mine the way you do. I wish I did. I would have to sit down and actually take a few days to think through it. But I would like to do that at some point. Just and discuss why we put what we put.
See how many of us have the same.
I just think it would be interesting to see also if we did that. Times where we picked the same movie but put them in a different slot. I would be interested to see if we picked them for the same reasons. Like I put this movie in here because of this, and I put it at number 10. It's like me too, but I put it at number 7.
we absolutely should.
Yeah.
What if I give you some of the years?
Yeah, the years might be good.
All right, so the years of the ones that we have not guessed so far. Oh, do you want the numbers and then the year?
Sure.
Is that too much of a cheat?
At this point, I think telling me the name of the movie would not be too much of a cheat for me to guess.
Okay.
So
all right, so number 11 came out in 1931. Number 12 came out in 1956.
So let's think about doing one at a time because 1931.
I'm not so sure you guys are going to get these.
well, 1931. Geez, that's
Is it Wings?
Wings is no.
No Wings. Okay.
Now I'm going to go ahead and spoil that. Wings was the first ever Best Picture winner in the Oscars,
Right.
which I think was that 27, 29, something like that.
I couldn't remember. I knew it was somewhere in that neighborhood.
It's close.
That's why
But
yeah.
I think
Okay.
that came out in the 20s.
All right. Let's pause on that. So number 12 was 1950.
56.
On the Waterfront.
On the Waterfront is in the top 20.
Okay.
It is not number 12, however. On the Waterfront, by the way, was number 19, right below
19.
General.
Okay.
Let me do 2 since I have not been guessing well. Rebel Without a Cause and oh god, I just drew a blank on the other Dean movie, the one that he did with Rock Hudson and oh god, what was it? Big something big.
Perhaps Giant.
That was big giant. It's all the same. Giants are big. Can I just edit myself out of this episode entirely?
That you're holding the recording, so yeah.
Wow.
Do as you will.
I've never seen Giant either, but I heard it's big.
It's really big.
Anyway, are either of those on there?
No.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
None
Neither
of
one.
James Dean's movies are. He did 3 though, right? Not 2. So
think
he
he
did Rebel Without a Cause,
he did
Giant.
4.
Was it 4? Okay.
I thought
Are there any more Hitchcock movies in the top 20?
there are not.
Oh, how about the Coppola movie, the Vietnam one, with Marlon Brando and
Oh, Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now. There we go.
Apocalypse
Thank you.
Now is not in the top 20.
I didn't like it, to be honest with you.
I've never seen the entire thing, but I know it's also one of those kind of seminal movies. So I just thought maybe it would be on the list.
I'll throw one out. Deer Hunter.
Deer Hunter is not in the top 20. Again, I'm going to mention that you are mentioned so far. Of all the guesses you've had so far, there are several that are on this list, but you haven't hit the top 20 yet.
All right, I'm going to just go with some. I don't think that Star Wars.
Star Wars is in the top 20.
How about Empire?
Empire is not.
That's ridiculous. I love Star Wars, but if Star Wars is in the top 20, Empire needs to be in the top 20. That's ridiculous.
I agree.
Star Wars,
Where is that?
It's number 13.
13.
1977. So very close. It's one step above Psycho.
God, I'm sorry. I know I keep harping on it, but I would really love to know their criteria because Jaws is like I said, love Star Wars. I saw it. I think I saw it 15 times in the theater. I love that movie, but it is not just objectively a better made movie than Jaws is.
I don't think so.
Technologically, it's innovative. But this is why I want to know what their criteria are.
It's tough to know. I mean, it is subjective.
It could be just as subjective as our own opinions, you know? I mean, it's.
But see, I don't feel like our opinions are subjective because we're able to support them. So. I mean, we have specific reasons for why we're not just, I like that movie.
It's good.
Okay. Anyway, so
let me give you some more years here.
Okay.
So far we have 1931 and 1956. That's 11 and 12.
Okay.
We already know 13, 14, and 15. You've named. Oh no, you do not have 15 yet. 15 came out in 1968.
I don't know if this is the right year, but you made me think of it. Is Easy Rider?
Easy Rider is not in the top 20.
No? Okay.
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music is not in the top 20.
What's the genre of the one in 1968?
Science fiction.
Was 2001: A Space Odyssey 68?
I thought that was later, but it might be 68. Go with that. That makes sense to me. But I thought it was later.
Or is it Dr. Strangelove? Is that a sci-fi?
2001's got to be on there regardless.
All right, 2001.
It is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was 68. That's much earlier than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was in the early 70s.
Yeah, a lot of people think it is, but it's that's the only Kubrick in the top 20.
We could also do an entire episode on why I feel like Kubrick is overrated. But
right there with you, buddy. All right. So
speaking of which, The Shining was on the other night, and I'm watching that. I'm like, why didn't he just make the book? When I was reading the book, there are scenes where I had literal chills going, oh my God, I can picture exactly how this will look if they ever make a movie out of it. And then the movie came out and the scene was nothing like in the book and not nearly as effective.
Or not even there.
Yes. All right. So
we still have 11 and 12 we haven't gotten, right? And that's the third one from 31 and 56, right? All right, let's shelve those. We've got 13
was Star Wars. 14 is Psycho. 15 is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Number 16 came out in 1950. Film noir.
Can you give us the director?
To my great shame, I have actually not seen this movie.
Do you know any of the actors in it? Is there somebody who's like?
Okay,
wow. So you haven't seen
no,
this at all?
and I believe it's a Best Picture winner.
Give us any kind of like a hint without telling us. I'd love to try to guess it. But.
Actually, wait. Before you do that, based on a book or original screenplay?
I believe it's an original screenplay because it was directed and co-written by one person.
So can you give us an actor on it?
Okay, I'll give you two. William Holden and Gloria Swanson.
Oh, wait, no, Gloria.
Here to Eternity?
No. It's
not film noir. I don't know.
I can't think of the. It's not the I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille one.
Sunset Boulevard.
I can't think of anything else with Gloria Swanson at the moment.
Do we have an official guess so far?
Actually, let's go back. So let's do 11 and 12 since we're now going to the clue giving of genres for the one in 1931. I think you said. What's the genre for that one?
It is a silent comedy, I believe. Did I say when you asked me if Chaplin and Keaton were on the list? What did I say?
In the top 20, we already said that The General was
right.
And Modern Times we got.
And Modern Times was.
Modern Times was not in the top 20.
Are we should we know this one?
I'm not sure if you'd know this one or not.
All right. Let's get to 12.
I am going to give you a hint on it though, because I think I might have led you astray on it. It is a Chaplin film.
Let's come back to that one. So 12 is from 1956. Correct. What's the genre on that one?
Western, I believe.
My Darling Clementine.
Seven Samurai.
High Noon.
High Noon. That's
Seven Samurais, obviously that's Japanese, but I know what you, Magnificent Seven. I don't.
That's right. Yeah.
That wasn't 56 though, was it? It could be, actually. It could be. If we hit it without saying that's our guess, let us
Okay,
know.
I will tell you that when you were trying to hash out the one from 1950, one of you did mention it with William Holden and Gloria Swanson.
Oh, so Sunset Boulevard then.
Yes, it is Sunset Boulevard.
Okay,
That's
it is
the one,
that. Okay.
Okay.
I'll give us both credit. I couldn't think
That's
of
all.
the name.
That was all you. That was
So
all
you're
you.
missing.
Well, you had the name though. I couldn't
That's
think of it.
true.
You're missing
That's all
11,
you did.
12, 17, and 20.
All right. So what is 17? You said what year
Number
is that?
17 came out in 1967.
Genre?
Kind of hard to nail that one down, actually. My first inclination is comedy. Let's see what Google says or Wikipedia says. Doesn't even list it by genre. So yeah, it kind of defies genre a little bit.
Can you give us an actor or a director, someone that we might know?
Is it on an ensemble comedy or ensemble movie?
Well, I'm wondering if it would give it away if I gave you. But you know what, you guys earn a bone here. So yes, all right, Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, The Graduate. Of
Yes,
course.
The Graduate.
How could we not have thought of The Graduate?
I'm really embarrassed actually.
Yeah, what would you call
that's-
that? Is that a
that's-
comedy? Is it a drama?
It is. I think ultimately it qualifies as a comedy.
I mean, it's one of those movies that has so much more going for it than just that, though. You know,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
talk about a movie that defined a generation. I actually had to learn about that movie in a modern history course in college.
That was one of the other movies that we did in the film studies
Yeah.
class.
All right. So then we've got two more left. Is that right? 20
You
and
got 11,
11.
12, and 20.
I thought we got the one from 56, or did we not? Did we say Sunset Boulevard?
That was 1950.
But I thought that was the 1950.
1956 was a Western. 1931, I think we've already established, is a Chaplin film.
And what about 20?
20 came out in 1947.
I feel like the Western one should be so obvious.
It might not be.
We said High Noon, Darling Clementine, Magnificent Seven. It's not one of the Clint Eastwoods. That was later. God, that's hard because Westerns were so big during that time. Can you give us an actor?
John Wayne. Not sure if that helps or not.
Of course, John Wayne.
True Grit.
It is not True Grit, and I feel it absolutely should be.
Do you think the John Wayne version should, or the remake?
Well, to be fair, I'm much more familiar with the Coen Brothers remake, which I adore. Which I
that's a
love
great-
that movie.
great movie.
And that's a movie that probably post dates this list.
I think you're right. So a John Wayne movie. I have to be honest, I've never been a huge John Wayne fan. So I haven't really seen most of his. I'm not sure if I've seen any John Wayne movie all the way through. I'm not sure I have. I don't know. I'm not going to be any help on the John Wayne movie. And of course, right now I can't think of any other Chaplin movies besides the two that we mentioned.
Well, do you want to just to get the answers on those?
Yeah, we might need to.
All right,
Yeah,
these are the two that I
sure.
figured you probably would not get. Number 12, the 1956 John Wayne Western, is The Searchers.
No, never
Yeah.
would have gotten that.
Never.
And number 11, the 1931 Charlie Chaplin film, was City Lights.
Oh, that's one I should have gotten. That's his other like really big movie. I've never seen City Lights, but I still should.
And that leaves us with number 20, which is from 1947. And I think any hint I give you might give it away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's between giving it away and just telling us. So,
All right. So
Yeah,
we'll
right.
give you
give us some kind of clue.
we'll give you Jimmy Stewart.
It's a
It's
wonderful.
a Wonderful
Life.
Life.
Yes, that's it. Number 20 is It's a Wonderful
That's
Life.
very interesting since that was such a flop when it came out.
Yeah, I feel
I
that
think
some of
I
these
also love it as a movie, but it's interesting that they chose that when it was so overwhelmingly not considered good at the time it came out.
So I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go down this list and I'm just going to look at some of the things that I've heard you say that I know are on this list. And I'm going to tell you where they are and we can rule them out.
Okay.
All right. We get down to number 27 and you guys have said High Noon. You said Apocalypse Now. That is number 30. Right after that is The Maltese Falcon, number 31. Number 32 is The Godfather Part 2. You did mention this one earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and divulge it. Number 35 was Annie Hall.
Is that the only Woody Allen movie on there?
I don't know, actually.
Okay, just curious.
Here's one that was just mentioned. Dr. Strangelove, it's number 39. Rear Window, that's number 48. North by Northwest was number 55. We've already established that number 56 was Jaws. Raiders of the Lost Ark, number 66.
Is E.T. on there?
E.T. is on the list. Would you like to know
Okay.
where?
Sure, why not?
I got to go all the way back up here because it's pretty high on the list, actually.
It's above Raiders.
It is
That's
above, it's
interesting.
rather substantially above Raiders, actually. It's number 24.
What about Shawshank and Pulp Fiction?
Let's take a look. Shawshank Redemption is number 72. In my personal opinion, it should be far, far higher on this.
I agree.
As well as the one that comes in at number 71, which has also been mentioned several times in these guesses tonight, and that was Saving Private Ryan.
71.
71?
That's crazy.
Yeah, kind of nuts. Modern Times was mentioned several times. That is number 78. This one was mentioned once, Easy Rider, which was 1969. That comes in at number 84.
I'm going to give myself a little credit for guessing that as a 1968 movie. So,
what was it? You got it within a year. What was the most guessed movie we've had tonight?
Well, let's not count Platoon.
Platoon, which came out in 1986,
Platoon.
is number 86 on this list.
What about, did you say Pulp Fiction? Was that on there at all?
Pulp Fiction is number 94.
Interesting.
Okay. It came out in 94, I think, didn't it?
It did.
Oh, good
It
for
did
you.
come out in 94. 94 was a good year for movies. Actually.
Yeah,
Pulp
Shawshank,
Fiction, Forrest Gump came out.
Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump.
We mentioned The French Connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 93, just before Pulp Fiction on this list.
Here's one that we didn't mention, but I'm curious. The very first Rocky movie.
Rocky.
I would think
Go back
Rocky
here.
should be on there.
Rocky, number 57, right after Jaws. And it came out the year after Jaws, in fact.
Any of the Lord of the Rings movies?
Yes, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings is number 50. And that to me is, of course, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But it's a weird thing to put that one on the list, especially since I said, the difference between the AFI and the Academy is they're all subjective, obviously. But the Academy nominated The Fellowship of the Ring for a great many awards, and it didn't win that many. But then when The Return of the King came out like 2-3 years later, it won everything, so it was entirely political.
I hate that they do that. I mean,
yeah, and that was kind of an oversight. I think AFI recognized that one of them needed to be on the list. I think maybe they chose the wrong one. It's hard to say because I treat them all as one big huge movie. It's really hard for me to separate those three films. I see it as one 16-hour movie in 3 acts. So I think this might be their nod to that whole trilogy, is just including one of them on this list.
what was number 100?
Oh, yeah.
What's number 100?
Yeah.
This is going to blow your mind. Ben-Hur.
Huh.
It's
So
that
where does
low on the list.
All right. So I'm going to guess then the 10 Commandments is on there.
I don't believe I saw the 10 Commandments. on
Really?
this
I
list.
think 10 Commandments. Well, maybe. It's been a long time since I've seen Ben-Hur, but I would have thought the 10 Commandments is a better movie than Ben-Hur.
Yeah, I do not see the 10 Commandments on this list.
I am really surprised by that.
All right. So there's 2 comedies I'm curious about that I was wondering if they made a list. One is Some Like It Hot.
Some Like It Hot is number 22.
That's fair.
Very high up on the list.
And then Tootsie, one of my
Hmm.
all-time favorites.
Tootsie is also on this list. It's coming in at number 69. We've mentioned Forrest Gump. That is on here at number 76.
Okay.
Other notable stuff, I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a lot of these that I think I would put on the list, but I wouldn't have thought of them immediately. This is why I break down my favorite movies by genre, because it's much easier for me to categorize them that way.
It's so hard. Yeah.
But we've nailed most of the top 30 at this point. But just to fill in the blanks real quick, number 21 was Chinatown.
Okay.
23 is The Grapes of Wrath. 25 was To Kill a Mockingbird. 26 was Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. 28 and 29 is All About Eve and Double Indemnity. 33, we got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
34 was Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
Are there any other Disney animated movies on there?
I don't believe so.
So now I'm trying to remember. I don't think I've ever seen all of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but I am very surprised that that's on there, but Fantasia isn't.
Well, actually, it might be. I didn't. I may have spoken out of turn
Okay.
there.
All right.
We'll find out in just a second here. Let's see.
What about Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs is on the list.
definitely should be.
It's further down. I think it should be much higher on the list, actually. It's number 74.
Huh.
Oh,
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah, it should. I think it should be much, much higher than that, because that's a movie that I look at and, I've seen it so many times and I find something new every
Yeah.
single time.
Mhm. That's another one where you can't really find anything wrong. Like it's and it's one of the, I think there's only 3 movies where it won all the 5 majors. So picture, director, screenplay, lead actor, lead actress.
Yeah, and it was the first horror film to win Best Picture. Did we mention The Sound of Music?
I did. I brought it up at one point.
Yes, that's number 40 on the list. 41 is King Kong, the original from 1933. Which that
Oh, the Jeff Bridges one with Jessica
not
Lange?
the Jeff Bridges one with the twin towers and the.
Grown-ups call them breasts. Okay.
I was gonna say, man, I had a thing for Jessica Lange.
Oh boy! Well, that was her first film. Then we have Bonnie and Clyde, Midnight Cowboy.
First X-rated movie to win Oscar.
Oh yes, that's correct. The Philadelphia Story.
What about Coen Brothers, like Fargo?
I have not seen any of them on this list.
None of them.
Yeah, which is alarming to me. It makes me wonder again whether or not this list predates some of their more recent stuff.
But I mean, Blood
Not sure,
Simple,
like not
Blood
Fargo.
Simple, you would think would
Yeah,
be
Blood
on there.
Simple. Yeah.
But No Country for Old Men.
Barton Fink. I mean, come on.
So we got Shane. It Happened One Night. A Streetcar Named Desire. Intolerance. That's a movie from 1916. I believe that is the earliest movie on this list. Next we have West Side Story. Taxi Driver. The Deer Hunter. We're in the De Niro era now. MASH from 1970.
I didn't like that movie.
The movie,
I liked
the
the
movie,
show,
I
but I
like. I
didn't
mean, the
really
movie
like
was
the movie.
interesting. I didn't like the fact that it was. There's a name for it, and I can't think of what it is. But we're kind of like they did in Stripes, where there's two different stories going on. I liked it up to the football game. You know, when it got to the football game, I'm like, I don't really care. It doesn't have much to do with the characters.
Yeah.
I did just read something yesterday, though, that apparently the author did not like the anti-war message of the TV show.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to say on Deer Hunter, because we just said that not too long ago. I think my favorite war movie is probably Saving Private Ryan, but before that came out, it was Deer Hunter. And what I loved about Deer Hunter was it was the only war movie I ever saw, and I think it still might be one of the only ones where you got to see their life of these friends before they went to war, and then you saw the during, and then you saw the after, and some went and some didn't. So what I thought was really interesting is they really showed the toll that it took on them. And like the friends that I remember, there was one character in particular, like, you know, he didn't go. And so when they come back and he's the same, right? He's nothing, but they're all messed up. And obviously Walken's character, but I always thought that was like so real, and like no one had really depicted war in that way. You always just kind of saw what was going on during it. But I thought to see the repercussions afterwards, to sort of pay each section had its own place in the story. So
groundbreaking movie for sure. Yeah. So moving on, we got The Gold Rush, which came out in 1925. Then Nashville is 1975. The only Marx Brothers film on this list, Duck Soup, which I don't know why they chose that one over any other particular Marx Brothers film. Next, we have Sullivan's Travels, American Graffiti, Cabaret, Network, The African Queen.
What number is that one?
That is number 65. And we got Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Unforgiven, another Kubrick film. We got Clockwork Orange.
I enjoyed Clockwork Orange, and it inspired me to read the book, which I appreciated. I think there's 2 or 3 Kubrick movies that I like, and that is one of them. But
next we got another Western, Butch Cassidy and the Sun They Did.
Yeah, of course.
That's an awfully fun movie.
Yeah.
Then we got In the Heat of the Night.
Ooh, is The Sting in there?
Don't believe I saw The Sting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that seems like an oversight.
That's a great one.
All the President's Men. We got The Wild Bunch. Then The Apartment, which I'm not familiar with that film.
Oh, that's a good movie. That's a Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine movie.
Oh, of course it is. Okay.
And they made a musical of it called Promises, Promises, which starred Jerry Orbach. And I actually got to see, it's a little inside baseball, Frank Gorshin playing the lead role.
Oh my gosh.
Shady Grove Amphitheater, back when that was still a thing in our exactly. It was the Riddler on the old Batman. But yeah, that's a fun movie. It's a you know, I mean, it's Jack Lemmon, so
right, yeah.
But that's a fun movie.
So that came out in 1960, and also so did the next movie on the list, which is Spartacus. I feel like that's something that should have been guessed a little bit earlier.
Yeah, probably.
Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. That came out in 1927. Yeah, never heard of that one. Next, we have Titanic, A Night at the Opera, one of my favorite black and white films. 12 Angry Men.
Okay.
Bringing Up Baby, The Sixth Sense.
Where was that?
That's number 89.
Okay.
That's fair, I guess.
Next, we have Swing Time, followed by Sophie's Choice.
I feel like that should be higher.
Probably. Next is Goodfellas, The Last Picture Show, Do the Right Thing, Blade Runner, Yankee Doodle Dandy, and finally in number 99, because we said 100 was Ben-Hur, number 99 is Toy Story.
Oh, interesting.
So that is the entire top 100 films in that 100-year stretch of time, according to the American Film Institute. This definitely has inspired me to create our own list. Maybe not 100 movies long, but some kind of definitive movie files list. Especially because we spent a lot of this time questioning the criteria that went into this.
Yeah, like I said, I think it would be fun for us to set up the criteria and then come up with our top 10 or 15. I know we've discussed just in our real lives several times, like best screen death.
Oh, yeah.
So things like that, I think would be fun to discuss.
Yeah, I agree.
That's something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Nice. All right. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, and that wraps up this episode, I think. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching you guys struggle.
Yeah.
As some of it was quite a bit of a struggle, but you guys did pretty good in the top 20, actually. You nailed quite a few iconic films. Your heads are in the right place according to the AFI, I think.
Well, that's all I look for out of life.
Like you said, AFI also has other lists too. So I'd be interested to maybe take a stab one time too at, like, I think they did a list once for like the top comedies and top thrills. And they even did one with screen villains or something like that.
They did heroes and villains. I think they put them both on the same list, which is a strange
that is weird.
But
was it like, here's the number 5 villain and the number 5 hero? Or
I don't remember.
Because if it's like, here's the top 100 heroes and villains, and like this villain is at number 10, but this hero is at number 5, and you are 5 more heroic than this guy was villainous.
Yeah, really weird.
Well, thank you for listening. I'm Steve Winall.
And I'm Stephon Walker.
And I'm Dave Wright.
This has been the Movie Files. Thank you for listening. See you next time.